Welcome to the Trumpet of the last few days. I'm Stanley Farrar.
And I'm Robert Farrar.
And I am Joshua Farrar. And there was a series of incidents that caused us to miss an episode last week. It was quite interesting, actually.
For you.
Yeah, for me. Considering all the technical problems were on your guys' side, I can push the blame off to you guys. It was only scheduling conflicts that were a problem on my side.
Yeah. The technical ones we took and got rid of the first day, but...
Yeah.
So, the California governor seems to have lost his mind.
At which point? Now or way back before the coronavirus even started?
Probably way back before the coronavirus even started, but his rules for the holidays are insane. No more than 3 households at a get-together for the holidays. Everybody must meet outside. They've got to...
It's not that they must meet outside. It's encouraged that they meet outside in December.
Well,
they've got to stay 6 feet apart in all directions.
To be fair, this is California, where they don't understand the word cold. They've never been cold in their lives.
Tell that to Northern California.
Northern California.
I'll tell it to Northern California, and I'll still be right. And
it gets cold. It gets cold in Northern California.
It gets colder in Northern California, and then I will point to my winter in Illinois, where it hit negative 50 for a week, and they can just shut right up.
Hey, when it comes to negative 50, I don't know what that feels like.
I do, but it's not fun.
Yeah, it's really not fun.
The thing about it is, can you imagine the size of the table you're going to have for your family to stay 6 feet apart in all directions?
Well, to quote an old song now, I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams.
They're allowed to go in and go to the bathroom as long as they sanitize it frequently.
How do you define frequently?
Just go in the bushes.
They didn't. It's just utter insanity. Oh, and don't go to multiple family events.
No, can't go to multiple. So if there are certain family members you don't like, then just go to the family events without those members and just say, "Oh no, I've hit my quota."
So let's do a little math here, right?
Okay.
So assuming masks are not a placebo, let's put that on the table for the math. So assuming they work, then you have about, if you are wearing a mask, you decrease the amount that you're supposed to be able to get coronavirus by like 73%, right?
Not from the stats I've heard.
I'm ballparking because I don't remember the exact one. But like I said,
stats I've heard is they're virtually worthless.
This is, like I mentioned beforehand, this is assuming it's not a placebo.
Okay.
Yeah, I put that out there right in the front. So if the person you're talking to has a mask, then it's supposed to prevent you from getting it by about 97%. Assuming both of you are wearing masks, that goes up to 99%. However, this math is not done conversation to conversation, but breath to breath. So, a 1% chance of getting coronavirus each breath of each individual in an extended conversation. How many breaths does it take until that number is practically 100%?
It would take approximately
one conversation.
100 breaths?
Yeah, one conversation.
Yeah. Now, assuming that becomes 99.9% chance of not getting it if you are 6 feet apart. one family event, one day working together, one day spent in a hospital where you're not supposed to be getting it is enough to mathematically get coronavirus 100% of the time.
Yes, according to their numbers, yes.
So why bother? Just get it over with. You're gonna get coronavirus anyway. Why bother?
Well, if you think about it, is that they're required to wear the mask even outside, which, according to all the doctors, outside the wind keeps it from being able to be transmitted.
Which is total BS because depending on the direction the wind is going, it could either decrease, increase, or have a net neutral effect. The only thing that would actually prevent it is the ultraviolet rays, which only matters if you're meeting outside during the day, during daylight hours. And if temperature is also taken into effect, then that changes up factors as well.
Yeah, the colder it is, the more the COVID likes it.
Yeah. And this is winter we're talking about anyway.
Yeah.
Just get it over with, have the entire family group up in a very, very small size room, then have them quarantine there together for a week, and by the time it's done, all of them will either be dead or immune, and you can all just go on about your lives.
Thing about it is you're even supposed to take and wear the mask while eating.
Well, that's an interesting trick.
Well, no. You're allowed to take it off for that short period of time that you're eating. And then you gotta put it back on again.
Here, I'll be right back. I've got a visual demonstration for this. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit weird with the whole headset and headphones thing, but I've got the perfect method to wear the mask while eating, and I will demonstrate thusly. And there it is, the way to wear the mask while eating.
Hey, if they're not very specific in their statute, then whoever said that you had to wear the mask over your mouth. Well,
on a side note, I find that this thing makes a much better eye mask than it does a mouth and face mask. It's very good for taking naps.
Well, you know that the masks restrictions, they say that you have to wear it. They don't say where.
That's true. Most people either wear it down by their chins or something like that, or they just pretend to be wearing the mask.
Almost everybody that I see in the stores wear it below their nose, and if you don't cover your nose and mouth, it's doing nothing in the first place.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's doing nothing anyway, but greater amplified, yes. I suppose you could also try to wear it like a yarmulke. And now that I've irritated our non-existent Jewish viewership...
But, yeah, they say you have to wear the mask. They never say where.
No, well, actually, I believe Arkansas does specifically state you have to cover your nose and mouth.
Well, people don't do it.
It's true. People don't do a lot of things in Arkansas.
When we went in to vote, I was getting lightheaded and dizzy by the time they finished all the preliminaries to give me the ballot. By the time I got over to the voting machine, I pulled the mask off so I could breathe.
Which, by the way, for those who don't know, voting is open across every state in the union. So remember
Vote
to
early
cast
and
your
vote
ballot,
often.
or you can't complain about who won. What?
I said vote early and vote often.
Vote early, vote often. As long as you're voting for the right person.
Who is that quote from again?
It was from a Democrat running in the South during the 60s.
Ah.
We don't actually endorse cheating in elections.
Just that small caveat in there.
Well, without cheating, we would have never had JFK.
Probably would have been better for it if we never had JFK.
We would have had Nixon earlier.
That could have been a problem.
Because that's who JFK beat, was Nixon.
Huh. Who was JFK's vice president again?
Johnson.
Lyndon Baines Johnson, the
Okay.
bane of society.
But we
One of
know
the
Dad's view of him.
one of the biggest crooks ever to come out of the state of Texas, and that's saying something.
Yeah, especially from someone who's from Texas.
Yeah. I still believe he was partially involved with killing Kennedy.
Oh no, that was before my time.
Didn't President Trump release a lot of the documents involving Kennedy? His death?
He released some of them.
Yeah.
But not enough. But when you figure that all the evidence, and Johnson slapped a super secret seal on them and wouldn't let anybody see them right after, before they could be investigated, and I would say that there's something pretty fishy about all this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was pretty sure it was just to protect the Secret Service guy who's the guy who accidentally killed JFK. Because JFK would have survived the assassin shooting, but a accidental discharge by one of the Secret Service guys blew off his head. That has actually been confirmed.
Has it?
Yeah.
I know that the bullet went in through the front of his head and blew out the back of his head, and and they said Oswald was shooting at him from behind.
Yeah, a ballistics expert from the time, and one of the things that got put in that super secret file that was released by Trump recently was the fact that it was confirmed by that ballistics expert that it was one of the Secret Service guys who accidentally shot him, and to protect his career, well, to protect his life after that, because he retired, he quit being a Secret Service guy after that. They covered it up for him. Because mistakes happen.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of interesting that Lyndon Baines Johnson became president, and there's evidence that he was at least involved in the cover-up, and you may have just stated why. Bush was the head of the CIA at the time.
Which Bush?
The first President Bush.
Okay.
Senior.
He was the head of the CIA at the time, and there's evidence the CIA may have been involved with the plot as well.
Ah.
There's evidence the mob may have been involved with the plot in some ways. We know that the mob bumped off his brother.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, the Kennedys as a
It,
family had their fingers in all sorts of sticky little businesses.
oh yeah,
So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
his dad, JFK's dad was heavily tied with the mob, and that's one reason why the mob helped get him elected
mhm.
by fixing the elections in several cities. But the it just shows that the Democrats took and were better at criminal activity back then than they are now.
Oh yeah. But part of the reason for that is because they've cut a lot of their, or more accurately, their interests with the criminals no longer align as well as they did back then.
They're more corrupt than the criminals.
Yes,
Well, that makes them criminals in most cases.
but think about what gangs were like then versus what gangs are like now.
Well,
And
the
you'll kind of
gangs
see
are.
what I mean by their interests no longer align in the same way.
Well, see that's the thing though. There's a disconnect between the gangs as you see them and the organized crime.
Oh, organized crime is no different. That's why I didn't bring them up. Organized crime is still very white collar in the way they do things.
The thing is that the Democrats have moved from using organized crime to using street gangs.
Yeah. So, like I said, their interests no longer align as well.
Well, yeah, it's like they're trying to play mafia themselves. Like they're trying to replace the mafia as with their own mafia.
Which, of course, makes them the natural enemies of the mob.
Well, yeah, because they're competitors.
Well, you take and have you got Hillary and her husband taking and collecting millions into their organization through foreign monies coming in, and basically paying her ahead for when they thought she would become president, so that they could buy influence with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take and look at Biden, which has now been proven that he was selling influence while he was vice president through his son and other family members. So the major Democratic politicians have been selling out the United States for years.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, the Hunter Biden laptop, which has implicated Joe Biden and his son Hunter, and also Joe Biden's brother, has been verified
Repeatedly.
Tony Bobolinsky was the business partner of Hunter Biden. Just recently came out, I think it was yesterday, saying, yes, I was involved in some of those emails. The big guy mentioned in those emails is Joe Biden.
Hey,
And
Tony!
and then he went through and explained exactly what happened between Hunter Biden and China and how he managed to launder so much money out of China.
Well, a major thing of why the Democrats and the mob no longer line up is this may come as a surprise to a lot of people, but the mob doesn't like their cities burned down.
It's true, because you gotta have a place to operate your illegal
Yeah.
activity. The street gangs love it.
Yeah. It causes the
The
chaos and anarchy they need to survive.
The mob would have a problem with the way they operate anyway, because they're not secretive enough.
Mm-hmm.
They're too open about their corruption. Yes, the Google and Twitter, Facebook have all put on a silence order to not allow anybody to talk against and the Biden's, and therefore
But-
not can
But to this
expose all their
Streisand effect,
corruption.
it doesn't matter.
In fact, if anything, it makes it worse.
Yeah, the Streisand's effect is definitely kicked in. But
What's that named
when
after?
you
What
look at the
incidents
different
happened for that?
organizations, the mob doesn't like being in the open like that.
Did Barbara Streisand ever try to cover up something so much? Why is it named that?
It's named that because somebody took a photo of her yard,
Property.
and she threw a fit over it. And
When they posted it online.
And see, before she may have fit over it, it had only been seen by 100 people, maybe a couple hundred.
Mm-hmm.
And after she threw a fit over it, it was seen by thousands. Because people looked it up to find out what on earth she was complaining about.
Yeah.
She would have been better off just leaving it alone.
Quietly petitioning for it to be taken down. No, not even petitioning, because you need eyes on a petition for it to go anywhere. No, you just need to quietly shut down their server with a sledgehammer. Couple of well-placed Clintonings.
It's a little arc inside.
Yeah, it's a little bit of Arkansas.
No, Hillary Clinton did not use a corrosive substance on her server.
You know, Hillary is one of the only people the Democrats in general, the only people I know of that seem to be able to get by with getting a court order to hand over devices to investigators, and they take and erase or destroy those devices before they hand them over and not suffer any consequences.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's because they own a lot of the courts. The corruption runs deep.
Yeah, it runs tremendously deep. The courts are a major issue of why it's important on who gets elected this year.
Yeah.
Because if you want a court system where some people have to obey the law and others don't, then the Democrats are the ones you should elect. Except for you're probably not going to be the one who benefits from it. But if you want a court system that works for the same for everybody, then you want the Republicans in.
Mm-hmm. And you need them in long enough for them to actually be able to drain the swamp. Because you don't drain a swamp in a single term.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, Roosevelt had to start a war to drain a swamp.
Which Roosevelt?
Theodore.
Oh, okay.
Panama didn't drain itself.
But I will say, though, that Trump has done a very good job of draining the Republican side of the swamp.
Yes, he has. Problem is they moved over to the Democrat side.
Yeah, they moved over to the Democrat side, but basically they were forced out of the Republican side. Clearing a
I would
whole lot
argue
of
that
corruption.
they just showed their true colors.
Well, yes, but showing their true colors and being forced out of where they're hiding is one and the same thing.
Mm. It's like they talk about all these Republicans that have left the Republican Party and joined the Democrats. Well, they were Democrats to begin with.
Rhinos.
Yeah. You had lots of corrupt politicians that just went to their natural source, which is the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrat Party's always been a corrupt party. Jackson, the U.S. Supreme Court, said that he couldn't take the land from the Indians, and he said, let's see him enforce it, and took it anyway.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't enforce it.
Well,
they couldn't. The enforcement arm is the executive.
And
Yeah.
I believe they ruled. I believe the Democrats owned Congress at the time, so they couldn't impeach him.
Yeah.
Even though they had grounds for impeachment.
Oh, yeah. He is, in my opinion, the singular worst president the country has ever had.
I don't know. President Obama was.
He was pretty bad. But he was not responsible for genocide.
True.
They didn't call him Obama for no reason.
Yeah, but that's not genocide. In fact, I would argue that if you were going to bomb the Middle East, you should be more thorough about it than he was. Just
Touche. If you're gonna go to war, do it right.
yeah. So I'm not going to go back on my own stances there just because it would look worse for Obama. No, I'm not that much of a hypocrite.
Now, the big issue with Obama was that he bombed U.S. citizens in the Middle East.
Yeah. And, of course, the Benghazi incident.
Yeah, Benghazi.
But as far as I'm
Horrendous.
concerned, the Native Americans or Indians or however you want to refer to them, they may not necessarily be under the same rules as us, but they are our people. They're one of us. They were born here. And then just slaughtering them like that is... I don't accept it. I can't.
Well, you have they are our people in more than one way.
Well, I mean more
No,
than
we
just
are
the
not
fact that
card-carrying members of any tribe, but
we've got blood from them. But let's be honest, the blood is so diluted at this point that half of our brothers didn't even show a sign of it.
Yeah, half of your brothers didn't even show up on their the DNA report, while others it did.
Yeah, it's weird.
The fact is, though, is that the Democrats have taken and turned on American citizens numerous times. Look at World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Japanese internment camps. That was the Democrats doing.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the Japanese that were interned during the Roosevelt administration were actually American citizens.
Oh yeah.
They
Something like
violated their
90% of them
constitutional
or
rights.
something.
The fact that they were Japanese was totally immaterial.
Yeah.
The fact they were just Japanese descendants.
Yeah.
They also wanted to inter the German descendants.
Which would have been they would have been interring at least half the population between the Japanese and Germans, if not more.
Yeah. That, and it's far easier to pull the heartstrings of racists when they look different than you.
Yeah. But the thing is that it was unconstitutional.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't have been allowed to do it in the first place.
No, but I mean, Abraham Lincoln got away with doing a lot of unconstitutional stuff during war.
Yeah. They're using a lot of the same arguments to justify the actions they're taking right now with COVID, when a lot of their actions are unconstitutional. In fact, they've been declared unconstitutional by several courts.
Yeah.
But
and if this keeps up much longer, it's going to hit a boiling point. It's already showing signs of simmering.
especially in Germany where they're really, really locked down.
Oh, there are people stocking up on ammunition here in the United States.
Yeah.
And they say gun sales are through the roof. The question is, are they taking and doing it because they're going to burn everything down? Or are they doing it because they feel that society is falling apart and they're losing their rights?
Hard to say. On a side note, though, next time I'm in the States, remind me to buy a gun. I've been meaning to.
What was that?
I said next time I'm in the States, remind me to buy a gun. I've been meaning to. I think Dad's frozen.
I still didn't. You broke up just toward the end.
Oh.
So all I heard was next time I'm in the States, remind me to
buy a gun. Remind me to buy a gun.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I
kind of want. Thinking about a rifle, I want one of those old-fashioned wooden stocks. I don't like those stupid pistol grips. They're terrible and they throw off your accuracy. I hate them.
So you want what, 30-30 or
like a Winchester style?
Yeah, 30-30. I don't like the pistol caliber stuff.
Yeah.
You get a lot of shots with the pistol caliber.
Do what? The biggest advantage of the pistol caliber stuff, though, is that the bullets are cheaper, which is nice.
Winchesters are not cheap.
Yeah, Winchesters are not cheap, but I also have the most disposable currency currently, so.
And the ammunition is going through the roof. It's hard to get. You can only buy it during hunting season.
But I didn't necessarily say a Winchester specifically. I said a Winchester style.
Yeah, but Winchester, Marlin, any 30-30, the ammunition is only available during hunting season.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to find it all year long.
Fair enough.
Marlin is under new management, though. So Marlins may be the ones to go after.
Oh, sounds kind of fishy to me.
Speaking as a person who has a couple of them, it's hard to get. They're a great shooting firearm. I can speak for the Winchester. I can't speak for the Marlin. But the ammunition, they've started making some really impressive ammunition for it.
Mm-hmm.
With the rubber tips on the bullets to make them pointed, because you can't put a pointed bullet into that kind of a gun because they can set off the bullet in front of them.
Yeah, that's why rounded tips became popular in the first place.
But they put a rubber tip on there, and it enables them to where they'll still feed into a weapon without being dangerous. But it increases.
And once they're going fast enough, it won't really matter that they're rubber.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the bullet itself is still lead and brass, but it's got rubber on the end of it.
A rubber cap, yeah.
But there's a guy who shot a moose at 400 yards with a 30-30 with one of those bullets.
Either way, I need to look into that because I still don't have a gun yet, and that just ain't right. And granted, it makes sense while I'm here in Italy, considering I'm not legally allowed to own one here.
No. Well, I had the same problem in Scotland.
Yeah. But at least once I'm back in the States, I'll get hold of all my knives and axes and swords back, so there's that. I'll have something, even if it's not a firearm.
You can also have your bow and arrow back.
Yeah, but I'll need new arrows. There's no way those old arrows are still usable.
Oh,
As
they're
I'm
North
sure,
ship.
as I'm sure everyone can tell, we are definitely not pacifists.
Oh. When it comes down to the this most recent debate, though, what is y'all's opinion on it?
Well, let's see. How do I put this? It was a lot more civil than the previous debates because of certain rules that were implemented, which I was surprised at the consistency in which they were actually followed. On both sides. I was surprised how less partial this one was than both of the ones before it, even though it was partial. This is the first one that I didn't come away from just completely disgusted with the moderator in.
Yeah, she actually pressed Biden on several points where she was like, "Yeah, why is that?"
And that lizard on my ceiling is really
The
distracting.
thing about it, she may have been a better moderator in some ways, but she was worse than others.
Yeah. I didn't say she was perfect, nor did I say she was all that good. She's just the first one that I came away from not completely disgusted by.
There's a lot of times that she should have taken and pointed out, and she tried to take and fact check Trump, but she never tried to fact check Biden.
In fact,
Well,
she
I grant
tried
you,
to
she had
fact
it.
check Trump on things he didn't say.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Trump was good at fact checking Biden, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, being that the moderator wasn't going to. See, it was good if somebody did. But
So much of what Biden said was straight up lies. He wasn't even trying to tell the truth for most of it.
No. They were both things that Trump quoted him on that he denied he ever said. And there's documented video out there on him saying it repeatedly.
He says he's going to ban fracking. I'm not going to ban fracking. I never said that. He said it. There's video of it. All right, prove it. Okay, we'll put it on our website. Hey, Dad, I'm getting an echo. Can you close your door? Or, no, I'll go close.
He's breaking the movie magic here. He's admitting
But when
that
we take a look at movie magic.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, there it is. I couldn't see the green thing lining up around my head.
But when it comes to the very debate, it's Biden. Just about every word out of his mouth is a lie, a bald-faced, unmitigated lie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do think Trump could have done better on certain parts, like the question about the people living near the oil plants and their fears for their safety. He just dodged the question entirely. Didn't even try to answer it.
But that's once more that comes down to the fact that that's a local governmental issue,
it's not something
a
he
federal
can control.
Then he should have brought it to the local government. He
Yeah,
did that for the minimum wage.
But going through and just saying that is the responsibility of the local government in a debate like that is as good as admitting that the president doesn't have any actual power. Which is
truthful.
It is truthful, but it won't get you elected.
No, well, but he did that for the minimum wage. He diverted it to a states' rights issue.
Yeah. But you can only do that so many times, is my point.
True.
I'm probably going to have to leave this in, despite the fact that Dad dropped out.
Yeah. Probably. Download crashed. Let's finish this, Josh.
Oh, just straight up finish it? Okay.
Well, no, surely we have more on the debate to talk about first.
Let's see. Well, we kind of covered just about everything there is about the debate, or everything interesting.
Well,
I
thank
mean-
you for joining us for today's episode. If you liked it,
Oh, you
then
didn't have another topic in mind? Or
that was 3 topics.
was it?
Yeah.
We did the debate. We did
The
corruption.
laptop. And then we did. Oh, and we did California.
Oh, we did do California, yeah. Huh. We really did do 3 topics.
Yeah.
All right.
If you liked today's episode, feel free to hit the like button. If you disliked it, feel free to hit the dislike button. It feeds the algorithm either way. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section below. If it's argumentative, we'll probably argue with you. We tend
And
to
keep
like
the
arguing.
conspiracy theories coming. I like those.
He likes conspiracy.
Yeah, they're really entertaining. And for those who don't know much about conspiracy theories, or more accurately, don't follow much about weird theories like that in general that are just fascinating, I suggest you look up something called the Great Filter Theory. That's a fascinating one. Anyway,
And he's
go
not
on.
talking about a carbon filter.
Nah, talking about a species filter.
Feel free to share these videos with your friends and spread the word. We want our content to grow, and hopefully you do too.
Gotta spread the
And
word
we
like
can't-
peanut butter.
And jelly.
Jelly isn't really spread so much; it just sort of globbed on there, and you got to be careful not to tear the bread. The only time you can
Yeah.
really spread jelly is if you're working with toast.
Then just toast the bread.
Otherwise, you just sort of like mash it down and squish it and hope that it goes in the general direction you want it to.
And that's why I don't eat. But we want our content to grow, and hopefully you do too. And we can't grow without your help. So please spread our content, spread the word. Till then, see you next time.